Hey, what you reading for?
Now, I do not fall in love easily, but I do fall in love quite often with fictional people. Real people? Real people are the worst, right? No, thank you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 fictional characters that I am in love with. I will share with you why I fell in love with them and what our happily ever after lives would certainly look like if we were to ever actually get together. And on this list, we have a play, a French classic, an English classic, a contemporary horror, and an American guilty pleasure. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Well, for 2 reasons. Firstly, I think it will be entertaining. And secondly, all of these fictional characters, they come from great works of literature. So it's a fun way to talk about books and for me to talk about books I love and that I'm excited to recommend for you. So if you love books, why not give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am going to hand things over to the great American composer John Adams for the intro sequence, and I will see you on the other side for love. In no particular order, starting off this list, we have Mary Yellen from the 1936 classic Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. Mary was raised on a farm, a sheltered existence, and as a young woman, her dying mother, she wants more for her daughter than this life of poverty, this farm life. So on her deathbed, she makes a final request. She says, Mary, promise me that you'll leave this farm. There's no life for you here. Go to your Aunt Patience and your Uncle Joss Merlin at Jamaica Inn, won't you, Mary? They'll take you in and you can make a life for yourself there. You'll do that for me, won't you, Mary? And then she dies. So Mary, she's like, yeah, sure, yeah, why not? She remembers Aunt Patience from when she was a little girl, and she has fond memories of her. They got on well. She's never met this Joss Merlin fella that her aunt married, but sure, she'll go to Jamaica Inn. It's probably going to be a great experience. So right off the bat, Mary and I, we share a lot in common. Both of us, we're both very comfortable packing it all up and then moving someplace we don't know and just starting a new life randomly with unwarranted optimism and also out of necessity. So we connect in that respect because I do that almost annually, it would seem now. Now, it turns out that Jamaica Inn is not a nice place. It turns out her uncle Joss Merlin is not a nice guy. So what does she do? Does she leave? Does she go somewhere else? No. She stays because she does not want to leave her Aunt Patience alone in that horrible situation. Because Mary has a heart. So Mary and I, we're getting on real well. You know, I can imagine a bright future for us together. And then she goes off and falls for Joss Merlin's brother, who is a horse thief. A horse thief. I mean, what does he have that I don't have? Yeah? Aside from weather-resistant boots, of course. But I can get a pair of boots eventually. I might have to steal a horse first to pay for them, but I can steal a horse. Yeah, I could do that. Why'd you go and do that, Mary? Mary and I, it would be a tough life, I'm not going to lie to you. It'd be tough there in Cornwall, England in the 1930s. But we are both strong people, both somewhat delusional in our undeserved optimism, so we could make it work. And I promise you, Mary, I promise, I would never leave you at the cattle market and make you take the carriage home alone. That's just not the kind of guy I am. Up next, speaking of delusional, the wife, Mrs. Gallimard, from David Henry Hwang's M. Butterfly, probably my favorite play of all time. This woman, Mrs. Gallimard, now she's French, but hey, I'm not perfect either, so I can look past that, right? And talk about a low pressure relationship. Her husband, he cheats on her with a dude whom he pretends is not a dude, and he betrays his country, and he gets caught, and he's publicly shamed and humiliated. And all through this, Mrs. Gallimard, she stays with him. Now, I understand that in a relationship, I'm bound to make a few mistakes, but by comparison, I am going to be the best thing that ever happened to her. I'll be like, hello, Mrs. Gallimard. My name's Michael. I am an unemployed horror writer with noise sensitivity issues and an obsession with cats. I'm going to need a lot of alone time, a lot of silence, and I'm a pretty lousy cook, and I suffer from frequent night terrors.
You had me at hello.
Perfect. Up next, I am in love with Every Woman and Jacqueline Suzanne's 1966 classic Valley of the Dolls. Every woman except Jennifer. She's a prude and a hopeless romantic. I don't need that. But every other woman, Anne and Neely, these are practical women. All they want is a man to adore them and buy them furs. Now, I can do one of those things, and I do it really, really well. Plus, they are both talented singers, and I am a sucker for a woman with a pretty voice. My very first childhood crush was on Karen Carpenter. Now, she was dead at the time, so that was not going to work out, probably. So then my next childhood crush was on Edie Brickell, and that was definitely going to work out. Until she betrayed me and married Paul Simon. Ugh. Now, Anne and Neely, they would both betray me too. That's the kind of women they are. But hey, I'd get over it. Next up, Manon Lescaut, the titular character from the 1731 classic by Abbé Prévost. The sweetness of her glance, or rather, my evil star already in its ascendant and drawing me to my ruin, did not allow me to hesitate for a moment. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate either. No man can resist her, and why would they want to? Sure, she's going to destroy you, but that's part of the fun, you know? Now, this book was meant to be an examination of social classes, the inherent injustice of classism, the moral trappings of privilege, and how desire corrupts. But me, as a young man reading this book, I just thought it was hilarious. This rich aristocrat, he gets smitten with this poor young woman named Manon Lescaut, and he becomes obsessed with her. And he's just buying her things, and he just sells everything he owns so that he can dote on her. And she constantly stabs him in the back and stabs him in the heart too. But she does apologize, always, with sweet and definitely sincere words of contrition. So naturally, he forgives her. And then he keeps on ruining himself, buying her jewels, more jewels this time, because gotta up the ante, right? And just lavishing her with tokens of his affection. And then she keeps stabbing him in the heart again and again and again. It was so funny, so funny. What an idiot, right? Yeah, but in his place, I would definitely do the same thing. I mean, stab me in the heart, Manon Lescaut. I'll forgive you too. And I promise you that I do not need to wear a wig because I definitely do not have lice. I'm just saying. And lastly, fictional characters that I am in love with. The sexy, sadistic secretary, Beth, from Adam Neville's Banquet for the Damned. This academic, Professor Coldwell, he wrote a book on the occult, a celebrated book, that earned him a spot on the faculty at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Now, one of his students, Beth, she really appreciates his class and she does very well in it, and she would go on to work for Professor Coldwell as his research assistant. Now, I do not want to go too much into the plot here. I don't want to spoil this great gothic, dark academia horror. But Beth, she has a beautiful mix of sexy and evil. And she also has a veneer of like academic rigor, but you can tell, because she wants you to, you can tell that underneath she's got a lot more going on than that. Maybe Beth lured these two loser musicians to come to the university to join Professor Coldwell in his academic research. Or maybe it was the professor himself. Or maybe the academic research is legitimate. In any event, Beth, I am a former musician. I am not exactly a winner, and I love to do research. Or research, I mean, whatever you want. I will say that sometimes I'll play with the neighbor's cats. You know, I try to show them games like chase the stick or swat at the cord. But the cats, they are never interested in those games. They always prefer to attack and claw on my hand, for what it's worth. Apparently, my flesh is a lot of fun to rip open. Just saying. And I also know the proper format to source references, and I can take dictation. Just saying. So there you have it. 5 fictional characters that I am in love with. One character I am not in love with is the lonely, sex-craved Italian alcoholic Claudia from Edifice Complex. Just a reminder to pick up your copy today if you haven't already. Links in the description box below. As always, I look forward to connecting with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video.